It was good, YouTube. It's the Deviant Espada here again, and I know I'm behind. I said I was going to do a review of This Bitch Got Roaches in Her Crib, but I'm gonna be honest. It's really fucking hard to read. It's actually, I don't want to say it's bad, but just the way he writes, it kind of irritates me. Like, he doesn't respect his reader to pick up on clues and hints that he drops, or be able to decipher subtext. Because we'll just take one character, the one I mainly have an issue with because of her name, Fredquisha. I understand he does not want me to like Fredquisha, that Fredquisha is a bad person. But instead of just writing that and having that naturally come out in the story, he literally just says Fredquisha is a selfish bitch. Not even because a character calls her that, not even because somebody says that. He literally wrote that down on the page that she's a selfish bitch. And I'm like, okay, I get it. You do not want me to like Fredquisha. There are so many other ways you could have gone to have shown me or tell me that Fredquisha was selfish, or that she was abusive, or that she just does not like her child. There's so much other shit you could have done. One of the things I actually did think was good was when he basically first introduced Fredquisha, and he was first introducing Maya, and he said that she walked past the boys' room, and she clearly heard laughing, and they were in there playing. Didn't say anything, but she went straight to Maya and started yelling at her about the door. And you started yelling at her about cleaning when everything else was dirty. That was easy to understand. That would have if he had continued doing stuff like that, that would have definitely let me know she was signaling out Maya. That could have definitely told me that she was abusive, that she doesn't like her because of her father. You could have given me everything I needed to have known. You could have told me she was selfish by having her spend the last of her money on weed when there's no food in the house. You could have told me that she doesn't care for the child by having the boys run out of the room, dressed to the nines. They're putting their new Nikes on, and she's got shoes with holes in them. But no, he basically just tells you all of this. Not like he writes it or shows it. He's just like, yeah, Fredquisha's a selfish bitch. She doesn't take care of her kids. She's abusive. And I'm like, you can't just say that shit. I understand you don't want me to like Fredquisha, but the fact that you are literally just stating that in the book that she's a selfish bitch lets me know that you don't like Fredquisha either. We're not supposed to like Fredquisha. Nobody is supposed to like Fredquisha. I get that. But the fact that you come out there and say it is kind of irritating. It's like you don't respect me as a reader of your book to figure that out. You honestly don't think that you could have just written this in there and then everything would have been okay. You just had to explain that your honest opinion of Fredquisha is that she's a bitch. Which at this point in time, I can honestly say, I don't know if you mean that about Fredquisha, if you're generalizing somebody and you're writing that about a bunch of people. Because to be honest, it's so fucking heavy-handed, it's irritating. I can pick up on context and clues. I'm a grown-ass adult, and I do not like being written to, or I don't like reading something that basically feels like it's a 5-year-old making a story about a person he doesn't like. This basically feels like a book wouldn't. And I'm sorry, this is gonna sound terrible, because it already sounds like I formulated my opinion, which is something I've really been trying not to do. I really don't want to already have my opinion and have it be set in stone. But it's a little hard to do when I feel like everything is coming across this heavy-handed. But at the same point in time, I'm not gonna lie, there's a lot of shit that I like is bad. I talk shit about Designer, and I don't know what the fuck the nigga says, but I still like some of his music. I was just banging Timmy Turner a few minutes ago. I don't know shit he's saying after Timmy Turner, wishing for a burner. I'm sorry, kill everybody walking. Yeah, Kill Everybody's Walking, literally the last line of that song I ever fucking understand. But I mean, even when it comes to things being bad, I can still like them. One of my favorite movies is Belly. And if you ask anybody who's actually seen Belly, Belly is terrible. Like, it's not a good movie by any sense of the word, but I still love it. Like, the opening intro where they first do the robbery is great, but everything afterwards goes downhill. Like, don't get me wrong, I love T-Boss, but oh god, she's not a good actor. Some of the acting in that movie was so just wooden and stilted, but it's still one of my favorite movies. Like, honestly, I can sit down and watch this movie still to this day, and like, you know how it's bad, I will watch the edited the shit version on BET. You know, the what's wrong with this duck plucker? Like, just terrible editing and everything. That's how much I like this movie. State Property with Beanie Siegel is another fucking terrible movie. Like, nobody in that movie could act. Nobody. Like, this movie was a terrible idea all around, from the time his girl's friend gets shot in front of her. And like, just out the gate, this movie is terrible. And it's still one of my favorites. So just because something is bad doesn't mean I can't like it. But at the same point in time, I feel like certain things are not coming across in the book. I mean, they're coming across, but it's so heavy-handed. It's kind of like, I can understand you don't want me to like somebody, that you want us to think Maya is innocent, she's just trying to survive, or that the best place for her is her grandmother's house, that's where she needs to be. And I cannot remember her dad's name right now. Shit. Either way, that he is basically just a good brother trying to get a second chance and everything, or well, either way, regardless of whether you want to believe about the father, I can understand your opinions. I can't say that I can't say if mine are going to be the same or different from yours, but here's my thing. The way the book is written, it's so fucking heavy-handed, it doesn't give you a chance to form your own opinions. Like, one of my favorite things about Quan Foye, the writer of like the last book I said, is he didn't tell you everything. Like, when it came to one of my favorite books by his, Gutter was a bad dude. Gutter was a terrible nigga, but you still kind of wanted to root for him. I'm not saying I want to root for Fred Quisha because she's terrible, but here's the thing, I got to formulate my own opinion on Gutter as to whether or not what I thought he was doing was wrong or right. It was wrong, and we all know it was wrong, and he shouldn't have been doing that shit. But a part of me felt like you could understand why he was doing it, because he didn't have any other fucking option. Like, I just don't feel like that's what's being given in this book. Like, there was plenty of women in, what is the other one? Not Gutter, but it leads into the Gutter, because he has his own, because I know Quan has his own little not cinematic, but book universe, and they sometimes bleed from other characters. Like, one of my favorite ones was Street Dreams, and one of the eventual ones that followed it was Hood Rat, where it talks about this dude, Tech and Jaw. Jaw's not a good dude, but you get to formulate your own opinion about Jaw. Jaw was a stick-up kid. Like, shit, Jaw was not a good nigga by any means. Like, he literally ran and shot somebody in like the first 2 paragraphs after you meet him. He literally robbed somebody at a fucking car at the dice game and shot him. And then the very same women in the book that you just read about, the very same woman he was just talking to, know this nigga shot him, and at the same point in time when the cops come up, they all lie. They all like, we don't know shit, we ain't seen shit. And they're all shouting, remember Duwala. We can all understand that. That's something we got to form our own opinion about. Like, whether or not Jaw was wrong or right, we understood why they weren't doing it. You weren't force feeding me, telling me what these women's opinions or their attitudes. I just feel like this book is being so heavy-handed and forced, it's irritating me. Allow me to come up with opinions on my own. Do not tell me what I should be thinking. Do not tell me that this character is a bitch. That is irritating to me. If a character is a bitch, I should be able to find out that she's a bitch on my own. I should not have to look at your book and wait for you to tell me your opinion of this character. Because that's literally what it is. Your opinion of this character is not even bleeding out. It's literally stated. You literally called her that in the book. And this is like the very first chapter that you have written that she is a bitch. All of this could have been picked up through context and cues. You didn't have to write that. There are so many other ways that you could have shown she was selfish, that she was just a bad person and a terrible mother. Like I've already stated, you could have had the boys running out there dressed in Ferragamo and shit rock and Nikes and Gucci's. Meanwhile, she's over there in Salvation Army shoes. You could have literally just described the clothes to let me know the situation of what was going on. But no, you literally wrote it out and said, this is what Frequisha does. She's a bitch. That is something that legitimately just ruins how I feel about this character. I mean, of course it ruins it. That's literally you telling us how we should feel about this character. That is something that just irks me beyond my core when it comes to reading this. If you don't want us to like a character, then write a character badly. Don't tell us that a character is a bitch. We should be able to pick that up through your writing. That is not something you should have to explain to us. That's my main issue as of right now. It's gonna take me a little bit longer. I know I wanted to get this done in like a couple of days, but sometimes reading this book is a bit of a chore. So I'm gonna go ahead and let it go from there. I just wanted to do a quick update. I'm gonna try and finish this book as soon as possible, y'all. I promise I'm gonna have to stick my nose to the grindstone and get it out. So alright, y'all. Thanks again for listening and have a good one. Peace.